Hey, Krsna.
That's
obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. Wow.
glories to God.
All glories to your service.
Glories to you. As the new Gokul annex going.
Slowly, but just the labour force is me, myself, and I. So yeah, it's pretty slow going.
You better half.
She does the mainly the inside service, and I do the outside service. So just me on the outside. Get the farm activities. What's that?
How's the cows doing?
Good, really good. Yeah, really heaps of grass over here. No shortage of grass. Yeah, heaps of grass. And I have a salt lick for them, which I leave out most of the time, and they love that. So I think that's one of them had some blood coming out of one nostril when she first came, Yamuna, and then after I put the salt lick, that just went away. So I think that helped, because I noticed when after they lick the salt, they put their tongue in their nose and their nostril, and I think it cleans up the salt. Nose. What's that?
Yeah.
He's got to go.
I got Ramtek on the phone.
Okay,
Ramtek's on the phone.
Look, Tim. Okay, let's get into it, everyone. Let's offer respect to the spiritual master. Om Jnanatamandasya Gananjana Chalakaya Chakshu Unmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with the shining torchlight transcendent knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so we're continuing on from last week's verse. We just read the translation, so we'll start on the purport this week. So it's chapter 6, which is Jhana Yoga, meditation. Text number 29. 29. So we can read that, Sanskrit of that. Sarvabhutastam atmanam.
Sarvabhutasatmanam.
Sarvabhutani chatmani.
Sarvabhutani katmani.
Ikshate yoga yuktatma.
Ikshate yoga yuktatma.
Savatra samadashana.
Savatra samadashana.
We'll do it once more.
Yep.
Sarvabhutastam atmanam.
Sarvabhutastam atmanam.
Sarvabhutani chatmani.
Sarvabhutani chatmani.
Ikshate yoga yuktatma.
Ikshate yoga yuktatma.
Savatra samadashana.
Savatra samadasana.
Bob, would you like to read the translation, please?
A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere.
So this is the vision of a yogi. We've been hearing the different characteristics and qualifications of a yogi for quite a few verses. So this is talking about how does a yogi see things? What is the vision of a yogi? So how do they see things? Basically two things talked about here.
They see the Lord in everything and everything in the Lord.
Yeah. They see the Lord in everything and everything in the Lord. So we didn't get to the purport last week. We talked a lot about this actual translation, some of my thoughts on it. And one thing I focused on a lot was that although the Lord's in everything, we shouldn't think that everything's God. This is called impersonalism. This is part of the impersonalist philosophy. They say that everyone is God. I'm God, you're God, the poor man is God. I mean, they have a saying in many Hindus, in Hindu society, they have a saying, Daridra means poor man, Narayan. Narayan is God. So they say Daridra Narayan means that they are seeing that the poor man is God. So that they concoct all these philosophies that if you do this yoga practice for 6 months, you'll realize that you're God, or they'll say the poor man is God, or so many things they speculate. But so it's true that God is within everything, but that doesn't mean that everyone's God. He's residing within everyone, but that doesn't mean that the individual person becomes God.
So the key word is he is inside everyone.
Yeah. I mean, he's inside the body, and the body is also made of God's energy. So, I mean, everything is God's energy, but that doesn't mean because everything is God's energy that everything is God, because there is a distinction between the energy and the person who is the source of the energy. Like we said, that, I mean, the sunlight comes into your room. So, I mean, the sunlight is the sun, right? But it's still a little bit of a difference between the sunlight and the sun. I mean, if the sun planet came in your room, you know, it's all toasted. So there is a distinction between the energy of God and the person God. So that's a tiny part of God, is God's energy, and God is the full power. So, I mean, like the body's made of earth and water and fire and different material elements, air. So that's the energy of God, but that's not God. That's his energy. So there's a distinction there. But the full God is present in the heart of you, Bob, of Bhaktimala, of Deepa, myself, everything, the ant, the pig, the dog. The full God, Paramatma, is present in the heart.
Excuse me, Ape. I'm going to go up to one of the rooms because it's quite noisy down here. So if you just,
Okay.
I'm coming.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, do whatever you have to do.
Thank you. Sorry.
So the complete God, Paramatma, the super soul, is present in the heart of every living entity. And beside the Paramatma is the individual soul. That's us. But there's still a separation between God in our heart and us in our heart. So you've actually got two souls in the heart. You've got God in the heart, the Paramatma, and you've got the individual soul in the heart. So he's next to us, but he's not us, and we're not him. You know what I'm saying? They're two individual souls. You can't merge them. You can't merge them and make it one. That, you know, just because God's next to me, that doesn't mean that I've become God. So we can never become God. We are always the tiny individual soul, and God is always the supreme soul. So that distinction has to be kept. So the body of every creature is God's energy. So that's connected with God, but the body is not God. And the individual soul within the heart, that's part of God too. And that is also not God. the actual God is the Paramatma, is the super soul. But so we should always just be aware of that and never fall into the trap of thinking that we're God, because that's said to be the last snare of illusion, the last trap of Maya, of illusion, that we think that we're God. Actually, the original reason why we came to the material world is that we wanted to be God. We wanted to be the supreme. We wanted to be the enjoyer, the controller. So that was the cause of us, of the soul coming to the material world. And if again we go back into that original cause of our being in the material world, it's so nice to get a quick look around the farm as Bhakti Mala's walking.
Oh.
So nice to have a look. Thank you, Bhakti Mala. That's a blessing.
That was a lovely
Look
tour.
around the farm. So it brings back nice memories. So, wow, Al's behind her. So if we fall back into that original idea that we wanted to be God, then we're never going to get out of the material world. So we have to give up this idea of wanting to be God, of trying to be God. So unfortunately, many spiritual paths, so-called spiritual paths, either outwardly or deep down, if you dig deep enough, you'll find out that what their actual goal is they want to be God. So, and that goes deep within Christianity and a lot of yoga systems, so many paths which are presented as spiritual paths, but their ultimate objective is wanting to become God. So we talked quite a bit about that last week, because it's very important, and we have to be very careful not to fall into that. And we have to always remember that our goal is to be a servant of God. We want to be a loving servant of God. It's actually said to be a hellish idea for a devotee, the idea of becoming God. It's like a horrible idea, because if we were going to aspire after merging with God, becoming one with God, then what do you lose? What's one very important thing you lose? Even if we could merge with God and become one with God, even if that could be done, then what do you lose that's very precious to us as devotees? Like I say, look, there's God and then there's me, and so there's two. Now, if somehow we could manage to make that one, so there's no distinction anymore, that and the individual soul.
Are we thinking devotional service?
What's that?
Are we thinking devotional service?
Yeah, what about devotional service? What effect would that have on devotional service?
You'd
You
lose
lose it, because to do devotional service, there has to be at least two people. If there's only one, you can't do service to yourself. So you do service to someone else, because devotional service means love. To love, it needs to be at least two. There needs to be at least two to love, because love means give and take, right? So it's an exchange. But if two become one, where's the exchange? There's no more exchange. So as soon as you did that, you immediately annihilate devotional service. There's no bhakti. And that's said to be the intrinsic nature, the dharma of the soul, is to serve, is to love. So if we did merge with God, then that's lost. That nature of this, that very nature of the soul is completely destroyed. I mean, you can't destroy the soul, but you completely you bury that. You know, you cover that over that nature of the soul. So it's said that the impersonalists, even if they do achieve their goal, which is very rare, which is to merge with, they don't actually merge with God, the person, but they merge with the spiritual light called the Brahmajyoti. So even if they do merge with the Brahmajyoti, the radiance, the effulgence from Krishna's body, then it's said that after some time of being merged in that light, they fall down. Now the question is, if it's so good, being one with God, merging with God, if it's so good, then why would they leave that? And the answer is, do you know what the answer is? Why do the Mayavadis and Impersonalists fall down from the position of merging with the effulgence of the Lord?
Is it to do with the fact that they don't chant anymore?
Yeah, well, there's definitely no chanting. There's no nothing. You know, you don't have senses, so you can't chant, you can't hear, you can't see, you can't taste, you can't touch. There's nothing. No senses, no exchange between senses, no loving relationship. So there's just no taste. See, bhakti, why we need to do bhakti, every soul needs to do bhakti, is because it generates a taste that's called rasa. It's called bhakti rasa. So there's a taste or an enjoyment, a pleasure generated from a loving relationship. So that's R-A-S-A, rasa, bhakti rasa. There was a devotee in Christchurch, his name was Bhakti Rasa. So there's a special, we have a book called Nectar of Devotion that Prabhupada translated. The original name is called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which became the Nectar of Devotion if you translated it. So Bhakti means, of course, devotional service. And Bhakti Rasa, like I said, is a taste. So devotional service generates a taste. And Amrita means nectar, and Sindhu means ocean. So that gives you an idea how much taste. It's an ocean of nectar. The taste we get from a loving relationship with God is it's an ocean of nectar. It's an ever-increasing ocean of nectar. But if you merge and become one with God, with his energy, then you lost it. There's no ocean of nectar. It's just, I mean, there's no suffering because, you know, there's no material bodies. So there's no backaches, there's no disease, no COVID. It's never too hot, never too cold, all that kind of stuff. So there's no material miseries if you merge with God, but there's also no positive pleasure either. So because after a while, it's like boring, you know, so to the extreme, you know, so then they fall down. So even merging and becoming one with God is said to be a fallen position. It means it's not the best. It's not our original perfect position, which is to be a loving servant of the Lord and always be relishing, enjoying that service at every moment. You know, different kinds of loving exchanges. There's so many relationships one can have with God and different flavors in those relationships. And it's very tasty, very delicious, very delicious. So yeah, we spent a bit of time talking about that because it's very important. We should completely wipe it out from our consciousness, that idea of wanting to become God. And if you've never been trained in a philosophy of wanting to become God, you're very lucky. It said if you hear Mayavad philosophy, impersonal philosophy, it's like complete poison. It can spoil bhakti. To listen to Mayavad philosophy is like poison. It can completely destroy the feelings for bhakti. So we're very lucky if we haven't heard it. If we have heard it, then delete it from the hard drive. It's just poison. And the pleasure of becoming God is like nothing, insignificant compared to the pleasure of serving God. In fact, Prabhupada said, what is this idea of becoming one with God? If you become a devotee, you become more than God. Did you know that? See, they have this idea of you want to become equal to God, right? Becoming one means you become equal or the same as God. But Prabhupada said, bhakti means you become more than God. That doesn't sound right, does it? I thought God is the greatest. He's the highest. How can you become more than God? How's that? Doesn't make sense, becoming more than God. So what does that mean? That where the devotee becomes even greater than God? Not even equal to God. I mean, we all think we're less than God, of course. We're less than God, and some people want to become equal to God. But Prabhupada said if you become a pure devotee of the Lord, you become more than God. Oh, Gulshan's joined us.
Hare Krishna. Sorry,
Welcome,
apology that I had a visitor. Narendra came.
No, that's all good. Oh,
Sorry.
really? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he came with his family, so he just left.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, for a couple of days he stayed. And so he
Oh, a
just
couple of
left.
days. Wow,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Wow. That's the perfection of bhakti. Bhakata seva paramasiddhi prema latikara mula Shuddha bhakata charanarenu bhajana nukula. It's one song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Actually, that reminds me, today is the disappearance anniversary of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. That's Bhaktivinoda Thakur's son, the Prabhupada's guru. So it's the disappearance day today of Prabhupada's guru, which was in 1936. On this day in 1936, Prabhupada's guru departed from this earth. He was known as a Vaikuntha man. One time a disciple asked Prabhupada, can you tell us about your spiritual master? Prabhupada said, what to say? He's a Vaikuntha man. Vaikuntha means the spiritual world. He's from the spiritual world. So Prabhupada spoke on at least 4 occasions, 4 lectures about his spiritual master, and told us. And there's books actually. There's like one book is called Araya Vishnu. It's about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and there's other books too, Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava by Bhakti Vikas Swami. So there's a few books about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So he's definitely, and he was of course the reason why Prabhupada came to the West. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, when he first met Prabhupada, he ordered Prabhupada, just when he first met him as a young man, that you're an intelligent young man, you should go to the West and preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English language. This will be good for you and it'll be good for everyone in the world. So that planted the seed, the idea in Prabhupada's mind to go to the West, which is our saving grace. So we owe so much to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So it's a very special day today. But as I was saying about Narendra that came into Gulshan's house here in that song, it says that Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi, that Bhakta Seva, so service to the devotees is Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi, is the supreme perfection. That serving the devotees is the supreme perfection. Prema Latikara Mula, it's the root of the creeper of prema, of love. It's why is it the supreme perfection? Because it's the root cause of attaining love for Krishna. It's the root cause of attaining love for Krishna, serving the devotees. So Narendra is becoming a very good devotee of Krishna. He's very faithfully attending the classes and really going deep into the philosophy and applying it in his life, and that's really good. And Gulshan's like his a guru of setting him on the path, isn't it? You set him on the path, and
I'm
he's
just a servant of the servant of the servant. Any devotee comes that
putting him on
it's
the path.
my
Yes,
I'm a humble servant, nothing more than that.
yeah. Pradakshina.
So,
It's called Vatma Pradakshina Guru. It's taking me a while to remember
so
that
Abhay,
word. Vatma Pradakshina means path. So it means one who the person that sets you on the path, of devotional service of bhakti. That's called the Vatma Pradakshina Guru. So there's three gurus. There's the Vatma Pradakshina who sets you on the path. Then there's the Shiksha Gurus, which are anyone who gives you good instructions. And then there's the Diksha Gurus. That's the initiating spiritual master who gives you a name and you make vows like that. So there's different kinds of gurus. And of course, Krishna is the original guru. He's the guru of all gurus. And every other guru is representing Krishna. But yeah, it's really nice to try to serve devotees, try to encourage.
so sorry, Abhay, I've lost you there.
Yeah.
So you were saying about we can end up.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, I go from one thing to another one thought to another, and then I lose my previous one. So thank you, Bob. So you become more than God. Prabhupada said, what is this idea of becoming one with God? The devotee becomes more than God. And then he said, Arjuna was ordering Krishna on the battle of Kurukshetra. The Bhagavad Gita, I don't have the picture on the front, but he was ordering Krishna right in the first verses of the Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna orders Krishna, you drive my chariot in the middle of the battlefield, Senior Ubaya Madhye. He's giving the order. The devotee is ordering Krishna, you drive my chariot in the middle of the battlefield. I mean, who had the greatest position on the chariot, Krishna or Arjuna?
Well, I'm thinking Arjuna.
Yeah, Arjuna, because he was a chariot fighter. I mean, Krishna, he was just the menial driver. I mean, the driver hasn't got the best position. The guy in the back has got the best, right? The boss sits in the back seat and the driver sits in the front driving. So Krishna was just the driver. He took the inferior position and he gave the superior position to Arjuna. Mother Yashoda, she tied Krishna up with ropes. When Krishna was naughty one time, she tied him up with ropes. That's what we do in the Damodar month, the Kartik month. We sing that song, Damodarastaka. Namamishvaram Satchidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Biyolukala Davamanam Paramrishya Matyanta Dodutta Gopya. So that song is saying how Mother Yashoda, she ran after Krishna and caught Krishna after he was naughty and broke the butter pot, and she caught him and tied him up with ropes. So who has a superior position there in that pastime, Krishna or Yashoda?
Yashoda.
Yeah. Sometimes Radharani gets upset with Krishna and she becomes angry. And when she becomes angry, and it's a state called man, it's another rasa, another flavor, where you get upset with the lover and you like sulking, go in a sulking mood. And ladies can go into this mood sometimes, sulking, and
Can do it too.
yeah, it's a reflection in the material world. That's why we sulk. Why do we sulk? Because the Radharani's sulking in the spiritual world like that. So So when she goes into that and she gets angry and starts sulking in that, to pacify her, to try to please her, Krishna will like go down to right at her feet and like begging her to forgive him and touch her feet, try to please her, try to pacify her by touching her feet and speaking, you know, pleasing words, soft words, and apologizing and everything. So who has the superior position there? So she's standing up on an elevated place and Krishna's right down at her feet.
Radharani.
So who has the superior position? You're Radharani.
Yeah.
So the devotee can become greater than God by serving God. But that doesn't mean that the devotee is more powerful than God or whatever, like that sort of thing. Or the devotee wants to become powerful than God.
Who was the parents of Radharani? You know?
Yes. Father's name Vrishabhanu
Vishnubhanu.
and mother's name Kirtida.
Okay.
Kirtida and Vrishabhanu. Yeah. So
What a lucky
Kanchana
parent.
Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Stuta Devi, Pranamami, Hari Priya. That's the mantra for Radharani. So Vrishabhanu Stuta Devi, the child of Vrishabhanu, king. He was a king, King Vrishabhanu, like that. So, but this isn't, when you come to that relationship of pure love for God, then God enjoys, that's enjoyment for God, to put his devotee on a position more elevated than himself. Because it's actually boring for him just to play the role of God, that he's the greatest, you know, everyone bows down to him, everyone approaches God. Oh, God, can you help me pass my exams? God, can you give me money? God, can you help my business to improve? God, can you cure my diseases? You know, God, can you maintain me? Can you protect me all the time? Can you get rid of my enemies? And, you know, everyone just treats him as the order supplier and he's God and he's the father of everyone and like that. So that's like boring, just to having that position all the time. So sometimes God likes to be chastised by his devotee. It's a different flavor. It's a different flavor. You know, that's God. You know, if God is a supreme enjoyer, he has to enjoy everything. So he enjoys being the leader and he enjoys being the servant. He enjoys being bossed around. He enjoys fighting. He enjoys everything. So he's tasting all different things. It's said that one of his names is Rasa Raj. He's the king of all rasas. So I mean, he's the best at tasting all different flavors of all different relationships. So there's a taste in that, and having his devotee as a mother and father, like chastising him. There's a particular flavor in that, or his girlfriend, you know, chastising him, you know, like that, or his friend, you know, telling him what to do, like that. So there's a particular flavor he's tasting there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Understand that? Yeah. So yeah, forget about this idea of becoming God. Just try to become a devotee. If you become a devotee, then there's nothing you can't have. Everything you'll get. Everything you'll get out of becoming a devotee of the Lord. Of course, a devotee never thinks about controlling the Lord and becoming greater than the Lord. But that's from the Lord's point of view. He likes to put his devotee on a very elevated position, even more than himself. Even, for example, it's said that Krishna sometimes breaks his promises. And that's because he's vowed to protect his devotees' promises. So it means he puts his devotee more important than himself.
Yes, you. That was a mighty one.
He puts his devotee up on a platform more important than himself. even he'll break his own word of honor, his own promise, but he'll never let his devotees' promise get broken.
That's why he said to Arjuna, announce that my disciple will,
My devotee, will never perish.
Never perish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he could say that, but he said, Arjuna, you announced. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, why didn't he just say himself? He didn't say it himself because sometimes he doesn't keep what he says.
Yeah.
because he, like he promised not to pick up a weapon in the battle of Kurukshetra. He promised before the battle that he wouldn't fight. But in the battle, once he did fight. When Bhishma, Krishna could see Bhishma was going to kill Arjuna. It looked certain that Bhishma was going to kill Arjuna. So to protect his devotee, he sacrificed his own promise. And he
I think the Bhishma vow was like, I will let you will pull the weapon. He said, I'm not gonna be, but Bhishma's the pratigya was, I will create the situation and you will pull the weapon. And then he pulled the weapon because he don't want his disciple, which is Bhishma, to be like, okay, Bhishma vow was more important than his own.
Yeah, Bhishma, like Gulshan's saying, Bhishma made a vow too.
Yeah.
That I'll either kill Arjuna tomorrow or I'll make Krishna fight.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll make Krishna fight. Yeah. So it had to be one or the other. There were two scenarios.
Yeah.
Either Arjuna had to die or Krishna had to fight. So he made Krishna fight. so that way Bhishma's promise was kept.
Yes.
And also also Arjuna's life was saved. So
initially he said that he's not gonna be fight. Initially he said he's gonna be he's not gonna fight, but Bhishma make him to.
Yes. So that's
disciple promise is important.
That's the beautiful verse. Let's look at that verse. It's in the 9th chapter, text 31. Text 31 of the 9th chapter. Whoever finds it can read English.
He quickly become righteous and attain a lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes.
Yeah. Kunteya pradijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. So he's saying, O son of Kunti Arjuna, you declare it boldly, loudly, that my devotee will never perish. Name bhakta pranashyati. Bhakta means devotee. Pranashyati means destroyed or perish.
Nash.
So, and na in front means not. So that his devotee will not perish. That Krishna will always protect his devotees. So,
but there's a long road to become a devotee.
Yeah.
We are trying.
So, but that should be our goal. That should be our desire. We shouldn't never think I want to become God. No. Then the real enjoyment is lost. We should always think, how I can become a devotee, how I can become a servant. Actually, as we've talked about before, to be a devotee of God, that's just the general understanding. The detailed understanding is that you have to become a devotee of a devotee. Who is a devotee of a devotee? Who is a devotee of a devotee? Who is a devotee of a devotee? You know what I'm saying? So it's like Prabhupada was a devotee of Bhaktisiddhanta. Bhaktisiddhanta was a devotee of Gaur-Kishore. Gaur-Kishore is a devotee of Bhaktivinoda. Bhaktivinoda is a devotee of Jagannath Das Babaji. Like that. So it goes on like that. So that we say we're a devotee of Krishna, but the real thing is to be a devotee of a devotee of a devotee of a devotee.
So you are a devotee of Giriraj Swami.
Trying to be, yeah. And also, before we say devotee of, we should say trying to be.
Yeah.
Because, it's a big thing to say we're a devotee of anyone. Because that means...
new book came of your Guru Maharaj, built a Juhu temple. Have you seen that book?
I haven't got it yet because I've been
I
in
seen in the
lockdown and then I
farm.
can't get to
Yesterday I went to
Auckland. All the
farm.
books are in Auckland.
Yeah, I
And then
seen the farm.
they released them there. They were sold out, and then I'm up here, and yeah. So anyway, I'll get it eventually.
I thought
Anyway, I'm just so much in the garden now. I can't even get time to read much.
you don't have it, Vivu.
No, I don't have it yet.
Oh, I
Juhi.
thought you had it ages ago. I thought you
No, I
had it.
asked someone to get it for me, and by the time they went to the temple, it was sold out.
Yeah,
So
there's some copies there in the temple in
Yeah,
New
that's
Gokula.
yeah.
I
I
seen that
did
yesterday.
been here for ages, but I thought you had it already.
no,
so,
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
We
not
will post it that when Bhaktimala will posting some books that from my place to
okay.
Jayanti,
Sure.
then we can
That'd be
put one
nice.
copy in there.
Yeah.
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 In the winter time, I might get a chance to read it.
Yeah.
Bit busy now. But that reminds me, saying that, that even trying to be, so it's not a one time I was serving my Guru Maharaj in America, and we went to Los Angeles temple, and Radharani Swami happened to be there at the same time, and they were both staying in the sannyas quarters. So I went into I was staying in some other place and nearby, and I went in there to serve my Guru, and Radharani Swami was there. I said, "Is there any service I can do for you, Maharaj?" He said, you just try to serve, you just try to, what did he say? You just try to please your spiritual master, Guru Raj Swami. You just try to please Guru Raj Swami. And then he said, and I always remember that, it was like 15 years ago, but it was like a thunderbolt in my hard heart, that you just try to please Guru Raj Swami, but you can only do that if you become a pure devotee.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it was just like hit me in the heart. And I said, what is he saying? What does he mean? I was thinking about that, and I realized it's true. You can't really serve anyone until you stop serving yourself. That was my take on what he was meaning, because as long as you're thinking about yourself, you and serving yourself, you're not really attentive to serving the other person. And when we completely sacrifice, give up, all thoughts about our own enjoyment and happiness and that, then you can, with a full heart, full consciousness, be attentive to serving the other person, pleasing the other person. It's like a mother, right, with a little baby. She completely forgets herself and just completely, her whole consciousness is on her baby. Does he need to eat something? Does he need to be changed? Does he need a bath? Is anything in danger for him? Like that. She's completely forgotten about, if she is thinking about herself, oh, I need to, have a rest, and, I need to, go out to a restaurant, and I want to go to the beach, and then what's going to happen to the kid? But she puts aside herself. And then, so he said that, and then I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it many times over many years, and then one time when I was serving my Guru Maharaj, I was one time I got a chance to. It was his cook wasn't available or whatever, and he wanted something to eat, so I put something together, and he liked it. So he from that time, then I actually got a bit more service and was cooking for him. And normally there was another cook, but I got to do some cooking for him. And one time I was making lunch for him, and I was making chapatis for him, and his chapatis wouldn't have any butter on them. He didn't have butter on his chapatis. He had a special diet. And and whatever leftover chapatis or whatever were there, then I would put butter on mine. So I'd smear butter on them afterward, on his ones. But if he wasn't going to eat them, then I would smear butter on his ones, and then I would have them after he'd finished his lunch. So he was still eating at the table. I was in the kitchen, and he actually wanted something. But I was preoccupied at putting butter on his chapatis that I knew he wasn't going to eat, and I was putting butter on them for me later. So I was thinking about myself. So I wasn't aware that he wanted some service. So when Radharani Swami said that you just please Giriraj Swami, but you can only do that if you become a pure devotee, it was like, in my heart, yeah, that's it. That's it. I have to fully forget myself and just focus on the person I'm serving. And when you think about it, that's bhakti, that's love. When you love someone, then what does that mean, love? That means you're serving them and you forget about yourself. You don't think about serving yourself. You think about the other person that you're serving, and that's love. If you're thinking about yourself, serving your own senses, that's called lust. That's what lust is, which is kam in Sanskrit. Kam means pleasing your own senses. But the opposite to pleasing your own senses is love, which is prema, and prema means serving Krishna's senses. So that just like with us to Krishna, it's the same with us to anyone, with us to people visiting us, guests, with us, with the guru, us with anyone, guests that come to the temple or whatever. If you're really going to serve them, it means the foundation to that is you have to put aside serving yourself. You have to put aside serving yourself, pleasing yourself, and just think about pleasing the person you're serving. So that was just something on the side, which I thought it's just there. We're talking about becoming a devotee, what it means to become a devotee, not only a devotee of Krishna, but a devotee of the spiritual master, a devotee of other devotees like that, other servants. So, yeah, that's what we're trying to get to, that point, a real love. And what we've learned also, if someone that loves Krishna loves everyone, so like that. So that's what we're trying to develop. That's what we're trying to develop. Anyone want to say anything about any of that?
I'm good.
Okay, all good. Okay, so let's.
This love can be with the devotee, or it can be with the non-devotee. I mean, like if this love
yeah, of course. No, we love the non-devotees also, but how we express that love, has to be done very carefully. Like how do we love the non-devotee? By giving them prasadam, by giving them some books. Like one of our neighbors, we've been trying to feed him as much prasadam as possible at any opportunity, and he buys paneer. I make paneer. I'm going to make some tomorrow, and he come and buys paneer. But we a couple of days ago, we didn't know, but it was actually his birthday the day before, and the day after he came, and we fed him prasadam, and then I showed him in our altar. He had some question like that. And then I talked about offering food and everything. And then this morning he came on this auspicious day of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disappearance day and said, do you have any Bhagavad Gitas?
Whoa!
So I said, sure. So I gave him a Bhagavad Gita. He said, when I come tomorrow to get the paneer, I'll give you $20 for it. He said, how much does it cost? I said, about $10. I didn't ask for any money. He said, I want to give you some money. I'll give you $20 tomorrow when I come and get the paneer. So this is how we express the love. but by trying to connect them with Krishna. Not that, you know, by talking all nonsense things with people, by doing nonsense things with them. Oh, we'll go to the movies together and go to the disco together, and, you know, you'll buy them some McDonald's and stuff like that. Oh, I'm hungry. Can you buy some McDonald's for me? No, I'm not going to do that. You know, so like that, it has to be, you know, how we love other people has to be favorable to Krishna. That's how we determine, you know, what we can do in the relationship. It should be pleasing to Krishna, our interactions. It should be helping people come to Krishna, not go further away from Krishna, but helping bringing people closer towards Krishna. And how we behave towards people is like a perfect gentleman. Perfect gentleman. So sometimes they may behave badly or whatever. We tolerate, you know, some bad behavior like that. But whenever we can, we look for opportunities to help them come closer to Krishna. I mean, how Prabhupada went to America, he tolerated so much. The hippies were so dirty and lazy and smelly. And I remember one thing Prabhupada, I read it just a couple of days ago, Prabhupada said, he said, I wanted to go back to India. He said, I had to tolerate so much. He said, the first place I stayed, he stayed with he had one contact in America. He went to America with only one contact. So it was one Indian man, his son went to America, to New York, and he married an American woman. And he took up all American ways, American habits, so meat eating and everything like that. So his name was Gopal, and his wife's name was Sally Agarwal. That was the husband's names, Agarwal. So it was Sally Agarwal and Gopal Agarwal. So Prabhupada stayed in the Agarwal's house, and they had a dog. You know, it was like unheard of. You know, Prabhupada, you know, had to, you know, sit on the couch with a dog and everything, ride in the car with a dog. You know, in Indian culture, that's not, their dogs are dirty, you know, they're very dirty animals and everything like that. So Prabhupada had to tolerate that. And he told the devotees, he said, I had to keep my food in the fridge next to the cat food. And Prabhupada was like saying, you know, that what he had to tolerate, for him, that was a huge thing to tolerate. That his food, his ingredients for cooking, his vegetables or whatever, was kept right next to the cat food in the fridge. I mean, they didn't think about those things, but there was nothing for them, for Sally. Sally wouldn't have thought about that, you know. But for him, coming from Vrindavan, you know, to sit next to a dog, to have his food next to a cat's meat, that's like just horrible. It's like you can't imagine how horrible it was.
How long they
And
stay with the
tolerated.
Agrawal family? How long
What's
they
that?
stay with the Sally Agrawal?
It was some time. I don't know if it was months, but it was definitely some weeks.
How lucky that person is, he don't know.
Yeah, definitely so fortunate. They're the first people that, you know, Prabhupada stayed. But Prabhupada loved them. He tolerated all that.
No, that's fine.
And
I've been taking off and on.
they had a young child, and there's pictures of Prabhupada like holding the arms of the little baby, and like had such a brilliant smile, and he was like laughing, playing with their kid. What a blessing for the kid, you know. Prabhupada was playing with the kid. And Sally, years later, after Prabhupada departed, Sally was talking in a ISKCON temple, like glorifying Prabhupada, that he was just like a perfect gentleman. So I mean, Sally became so purified. She was like glorifying Prabhupada in the temple, that he was just a perfect gentleman. He was such a saintly person. I mean, she's so blessed. You know, so definitely devotees should give mercy to the non-devotees. I mean, otherwise, how does anyone become a devotee? You tell me.
Say that again. How does one become a devotee?
How does any non-devotee become a devotee? What is the path? What is the way? How do you go from being a non-devotee to a devotee? How does that happen? Is it just like you wake up one morning and you know, I'm a devotee today?
No, association with the devotee.
Well, association with a devotee. So what does that mean? You know, the devotees have to be merciful, have to be compassionate, reach out and try to help non-devotees to become, you know, Krishna conscious. And that's the only way it happens. If we all stay in our houses and, you know, close the doors and windows, then basically everyone in the material world's condemned. One time, you know, that Lord Chaitanya asked Haridas Thakur, he'd placed as the chief instructor for chanting the holy name. He asked Haridas, how can the non-moving living entities be delivered? Non-moving means the plants. Non-moving living entity, we're the moving ones, right? The animals and the birds and the fish. But the non-moving means the plants. They can't move. So Lord Chaitanya said, how can the non-moving living entities, the plants, be liberated? And Haridas Thakur said, by the loud chanting of the holy name. Can you believe it? Wow. Then you're liberating the plants by the loud chanting of the holy name. Now the next question is, who is loudly chanting the holy name?
The devotees.
Devotees. So once again, it's devotees. If devotees don't loudly chant the holy name, what's going to happen to the plants?
It's grow faster, and
they're going to keep coming back. Keep coming back.
There was one
as plants, and then after a few million births, animals, and then a few million births, maybe a human. But if even the plants hear you loudly chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, when you go out to the park or the beach or whatever, then they're going to get liberated. The next life, they'll go straight from being in a plant body to a human body. You understand that? Yep. Instead of taking 3 million or whatever, 4 million births to get from plant to human, they'll go straight from plant to human because they heard you loudly chanting the holy name. Now, of course, the more purely you chant the holy name, the more benefit the plant will get, and the more benefit you will get. So like that. So we should try to chant as purely as possible and loudly so others can hear. It's said that loudly chanting the holy name is 1,000 times better than silently chanting the holy name. Why? Why is it 1,000 times better loudly chanting than chanting in your mind? Because you can chant in your mind too, or you can chant softly.
You
can chant in your mind, you can chant softly, and you can chant loudly. So said loud chanting is 1,000 times better than soft chanting.
It's like 1,000 people can listen.
Yeah, so other living entities benefit. So then you get more benefit. So it's 1,000 times better for you because you've helped some others. If you're just doing it for your benefit, well, then you get some benefit. But you get 1,000 times more if you benefit yourself and others. So like that. So that's how we should relate to non-devotees. You try to help them by giving them the... But if you loudly say Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Pepsi, then you lose and they lose. So, you know, that's our dealing with everyone else should be something connected with Krishna. Give prasadam. Even like we offer the food that we're going to give to our dog because it's better for him. Then he's eating prasadam. So it's vegetarian food, and it's not only that, but we offer it. So actually we offer his porridge in the morning before we give it to him. We offer his khichdi to Krishna, you know, before we give it to him. You know, so then he gets more benefit. And then Krishna's pleased with us that we're, you know, helping a dog become Krishna conscious, we hope. You know, so, and he's doing service for Krishna by protecting Krishna's property. I'm 100% sure we would have already been burgled if, you know, had thieves come here if it wasn't for the dog. You know, so he's protecting us. protecting Krishna's property like that. So he's doing service, so he gets benefit. So we try to engage everyone in doing some service. There was one person did service for the Bhakti tree very early on to make the sign, that beautiful wooden sign. When we first opened, we had a really basic sign.
Yeah, Paul.
Paul, right?
Yes.
So Paul made that beautiful sign, and he did that as a service. You can't imagine what benefit Jagannath will give him, because voluntarily he spent months.
Yeah.
And he was doing that in his house. It was so hot in the summer, and breathing in all the dust from all the chipping the wood, and it was so hard, banging it all by hand. He did it all, chiseled it out by hand, and sanding it, and dust everywhere. He already had bad health, so it was so difficult, and he didn't get paid. He didn't want money. We only paid for the wood, so like that, and we gave him free prasad. That was the payment. We just fed him up to the neck, whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, so, and that's the way that we deal with people, and that helped him in his Krishna consciousness so much.
He's not very well, Abhay.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because he's never been well since I've known him.
Yeah.
Through ups and downs, but yeah. But I'm happy for him, knowing that he's done service for Krishna, and that whatever happens to him, he's very lucky. He's very fortunate. His next birth, if he takes another birth, will be a very good one. He's going upwards, not downwards, which is a good thing. I only feel concerned for people that have never done any service. For those people, I feel very sad. But if someone's done some service, then I feel very, very happy for them, even if they're maybe diseased or have some financial problem or whatever problem. But I don't have any worries about them. They're actually very fortunate. Actually, Krishna's devotees are often put into difficult situations, but that's part of Krishna's mercy to help bring the person closer to Krishna through that being in distress. So it's not surprising that, of course, everyone is in distress, whether it's through COVID or whatever. It doesn't matter if you're rich or powerful or whatever. Everyone has problems. But devotees also, we have problems, but Krishna uses those problems to help bring us closer to him. So it's a blessing, and as they say, a blessing in disguise. Every cloud has a silver lining. So for us as Krishna conscious people, we should always see the silver lining, how this is helping me in Krishna consciousness, helping me to become a more humble devotee, a more compassionate devotee, a more tolerant devotee, a better devotee like that. Okay, we've only got a short time left. Let's read a little bit of the purport. So let's go to 629.
Well, 629, yep.
Yeah, today's verse. And Bhakti Mala, could you start reading the purport?
A Krishna conscious yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as the super soul, Paramatma. Isvara. No.
Isvara sarva bhutanam. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. The Lord in his Paramatma feature is situated within both the heart of the dog and that of the Brahmana. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence in either a dog or a Brahmana. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is also situated in the individual heart, but he is not present in all hearts. That is the distinction between the individual soul and the super soul. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in the heart of both the believer and the non-believer. In the Smriti, this is confirmed as follows. The Lord, being the source of all beings, is like the mother and the maintainer. As the mother is neutral to all different kinds of children, the Supreme Father or Mother is also so. Consequently, the Supersoul is always in every living being. Outwardly also, every living being is situated in the energy of the Lord. As will be explained in the 7th chapter, the Lord has primarily two energies, the spiritual or superior and the material or inferior. The living entity, although part of the superior energy, is also conditioned by the inferior energy. The living entity is always in the Lord's energy. Every living entity is situated in him in one way or another. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, although in different situations according to the results of fruitive work, in all circumstances remain the servants of God. While in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, and while in the spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is the servant of God. This vision of equality is perfect in a person in Krishna consciousness.
Thank
So
you,
nice.
Bhaktimala.
Jai. So if you go to the pictures in your book, go to the pictures, and in your pictures, you're going to see a picture of a person that's seeing all kind of creatures, like a dog and an elephant and a person, and he's seeing God within them. He's seeing the super soul in them. So that picture will be there. And that's based on what it's saying here. And also there's a famous verse, the 5th chapter, text 18, saying that the learned sage sees, if you look at that verse, so look at the picture, and then 5 chapter text 18.
The humble sage, by a virtue of a true knowledge, see with the equal vision a learned and a gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog eater outside.
So that picture is based on this verse. Did you find that picture in your book?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's seeing the super soul within all those different creatures, different species. So that's the equal vision. So of course the bodies are not equal. I mean, definitely the body of an elephant is not equal to the body of a dog. The body of a dog is not equal to the body of a person. So that's not where the equality is. The equality is that the same Paramatma is within all those different bodies. So that's that same vision in the yogi, in the devotee, seeing God everywhere.
Excuse me, I have to go.
You have to go, yeah.
So
Go for it,
sorry,
Bob.
everyone.
No, that's fine. That's all good.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hari Hari.
It's all right. Please stay safe, everyone.
Thank you. You too,
I'll
Bob.
see you next Thursday.
Yes, definitely.
Lovely.
Definitely.
Okay, see you then.
Okay. Take care.
Why it says that I'm the knower of the Vedas 15.15? Do we have to go Bhagavad Gita 15.15 or?
I didn't say 15.15.
No. In the photo it says that I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remember knowledge and the forgetfulness by the Vedas. I'm the knower, known indeed. I'm the compiler of Vedanta, and I'm the knower of Vedas 15.15.
Oh, that's under the picture, is it?
Yeah.
The picture with the sage looking at the dog and the elephant and the cow and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's also related because that verse...
15.15 Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad
Yeah, 15. Yeah, that's Bhagavad Gita. That's a very famous verse also. So that, because that's also talking about a similar subject in the first line. So the first line is Savasya Chahamriti, son of a stow, saying, I am seated in everyone's heart.
Yeah.
So that's the same point as that, as what I said, that text 8.
Yeah. Got it.
That's the same point, that he's seated in everyone's heart. So that's related to that picture, not the part where he says, by all the Vedas I'm to be known. That's a different point. But yeah, he's seated in everyone's heart, and he's giving remembrance and forgetfulness and knowledge to everyone. So yeah, he's seated in everyone's heart as a Paramatma, and he's like, because he's like our father. And like Prabhupada's saying, that just like the father's neutral, it doesn't say, I like these kids and I don't like these kids. He loves all of his kids. So God is going to be with his kid in the form of a pig, and with his kid in the form of a Sudra, just with. Yeah.
Father loves some kids more than the other, those who listen to father.
Yeah.
The same happens in the Krishna. Krishna got all kids that, but whoever's serving Krishna listen more.
True. But that's also not being partial. That's still neutral, because he's reciprocating just according to the mentality of his child. You know what I mean? Like, the devotee loves him with all of his heart. So the Lord's going to reflect that back. It's going to reciprocate with that just according to, you give everything to me, okay, I'm going to give everything to you. You know, so, but if the living entity ignores him, then he'll also reciprocate with that and ignore the living entity. However, he'll still provide that living entity with food and shelter and companionship and his bare necessities, but God won't project himself in the face of that living entity, and Krishna's not going to say, here I am, like that, you know. So if someone wants to forget God, then God will reciprocate with that. Okay, you'll never remember me. If someone wants to love God, then God will pour love back on them. But that's all his fairness as well. And you could look in the 9th chapter, text 29. It explains that. Is it 29 or, yep, 29. 9th chapter, text 29. Whoever finds it can read it.
I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I'm equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him.
That's beautiful. And that's God's position. He doesn't envy anyone. Even you hate God.
Even atheists.
He doesn't hate you back. He doesn't envy you. But of course, I mean, he might kill your body if he incarnates. But that killing is also his love, because when he kills the demon, then they're liberated. They're freed from all of their lust, greed, and anger, and so forth.
How lucky somebody will be killed by Krishna.
Yeah. So he's saying he's not partial to anyone. He's saying he's equal to everyone. So that equal to everyone means, if you want, like I said, if you want to love God, he'll love you. If you want to forget God, then he'll make you forget, and you know he'll won't give you much attention, because that's what you want. So he just reciprocates perfectly according to what you want. So that's in 4th chapter, text 11. He's explaining about how he's reciprocating. Is it 4:11? Yeah. 4th chapter, text 11.
As all surrender unto me, I rewarded them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respect, O son of Parth.
Yeah, so depending on how you relate to him, how you surrender to him, then he'll reward you according to that. So it means he's very fair. He rewards you just according to what you deserve. So as you deserve, he's not partial. He's not like, these are his special favorites, so he's giving some extra treats to them and like that. No. But if you deserve more, he gives you more. If you deserve less, he gives you less. So that's perfect. So if so, like it's saying in that one we just read, 929, but whoever renders, so saying he's equal to everyone, but whoever renders service unto me and devotion as a friend is in me, and I am also a friend to him. So if you treat him as a friend, he's going to treat you as a friend. But that's his equality. That's not being partial. You know what I'm saying? You want to have God as your friend. So he's going to see that, and he's going to reward you just according to that. You want to be my friend? Okay, I'm your friend. I'll be your friend. Like that. You want to be my enemy? Okay, I'll be your enemy. I'll fight with you and kill you and liberate you. So you see what I'm saying? He's very fair. He's very equal. And how he deals with all the living entities, because they're all his children. They're all his children, and he loves everyone. And that's his love, that even like it's Prabhupada mentions in the end of the purport, although in different situations, that all the living entities, although in different situations according to the results of fruit of work, in all circumstances remains the servants of God. So that's the end of today's purport. So why is the soul, who is part of God, a child of God, in the body of a pig? Why?
According to his karma.
Yeah, because of our past, as a result of our past fruit of work, because of our past karma. And how can you get in the body of a pig? Like if you're in a human body and you just shovel any food in your mouth without discriminating whether it's the right thing to put in your mouth or not.
You are a pig in a human body.
You're a pig in a human body, so Mother Nature's going to say, well, or Krishna in the heart's going to say, well, human body's not really meant to shovel everything in like a pig. So I'll give you a pig's body. It's better, then you can easily shovel anything in, no problem. And so that you get a body just according to what you desire and your karma and everything like that. So, but still, like Prabhupada's saying, but he's still in all circumstances remains a servant of God. So even the soul is in the body of a pig, but it's still a servant of God. And it's saying here, and while in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses. So the pig is serving the material senses, means like its tongue and its genitals, right? Because it's having sex with the female pig, producing piglets and eating stool and all kind of stuff. So it's serving its senses, sense gratification, right? That's what everyone's doing, whatever species. And then Prabhupada says, in either case, the living entity is a servant of God, because even the senses of the pig, right? The tongue and the genitals and so forth, the skin, the eyes, the ears, where do all those senses come from?
It's from Krishna.
From Krishna. So in one sense, that pig is serving Krishna's energy. You understand that? That pig is serving Krishna in the form of Krishna's material energy. That's what Prabhupada says in the second paragraph. Outwardly also, every living being is situated in the energy of the Lord. And there's two energies, spiritual, material. Every living entity is situated in him one way or another. So if you look at chapter 7, text 5. Chapter 7, text 5. No, 4. 4, text 4.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and a false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies.
Okay. So the pig's body, the dog's body, the elephant's body, the brahmana's body, the man's body, woman's body is made of this. And you're serving that. But all that is Krishna's energy. So indirectly, Everyone's serving Krishna. That's the way that elevated devotee is seeing. So not only is he seeing, well, the super soul is in the heart of the pig, the super soul's in the heart of Gulshan, the super soul's in the heart of the cockroach, the super soul's in the heart of the fly, but he's also seeing that they're serving Krishna's material energy, the tongue and the arms and the legs and the eyes and everything, the senses, and that's also Krishna's energy. So either you're serving Krishna's internal energy, which is bhakti, or you're serving the external energy, but you're serving Krishna. Does that make sense? So from that, with a devotee in elevated knowledge, he sees everyone as serving Krishna. He sees Krishna everywhere, the super soul, and he's seeing everyone as serving Krishna. Whether you serve the material energy, Maya, or you serve the spiritual energy, bhakti, but you one way or another, you're serving Krishna. So no one is outside of serving Krishna. You know what I'm saying? You can't escape serving Krishna. You're, like Prabhupada said at the purport, everyone is Krishna's servant.
Yeah.
Isn't that what he says at the end of the purport? He says,
I've never realized it like that. That's really cool. Yeah.
The second to last sentence of today's purport. In either case, the living entity is the servant of God. So what's in either case? That while in the material energy, the living entity serves as material senses, the body, and while in the spiritual energy, he serves as Supreme Lord directly. So, you serve the Supreme Lord directly, that's bhakti. You have love and relationship with God. But in either case, the living entity is a servant of God. You can't escape. The pig, or my dog, even though he's not conscious, he's a servant of God, but he's serving God because he's serving his tongue, he's serving his genitals. That's all Krishna's energy. So indirect, and he's protecting Krishna's place, Krishna's devotees. He's serving Krishna. So you can't escape. The only thing is that they're not conscious of that. But bhakti means you become conscious of that. You become conscious that you're a servant of Krishna. And what's the difference? Okay, you're unconsciously serving Krishna, or you're consciously serving Krishna. The difference is, if you consciously serve Krishna, your experience is going to be better. You're going to be happier. The enjoyment is going to be more. Like I said, Prabhupada sometimes would be seen with tears coming out of his eyes sideways. Do you ever see a pig or a dog with tears coming out sideways? No.
Not even
because once you, or even a human, but if you consciously serve Krishna, then your experience, your happiness is more. But the fact remains, everyone is serving Krishna. Because you can't, there's nothing outside of Krishna's energy. Krishna's energy is everywhere. The material world is Krishna's energy, and the spiritual world is Krishna's energy. There's nothing, the soul is Krishna's. In 7th chapter, text 5, the next verse says the soul is Krishna's superior energy. So those 8 energies are Krishna's inferior energy, and the soul is Krishna's superior energy. That's 7th chapter, text 5. But there's nothing other than that. I mean, you tell me what else is there in the material world other than earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, false ego, and then the soul. You tell me what else is there that exists. There's nothing. So, and that's all Krishna's energy. So there's nothing outside of Krishna's energy. Can you be anywhere outside of Krishna? No, you can't. So I hate Krishna. I'm going to get away from Krishna, but there's nowhere to get away. Where you're going to go to is also Krishna's energy. So that's the way it is. That we are Krishna's energy, and we're meant to serve Krishna. And there's no other option. I mean, you can think there is, and that's Maya, but that's the illusion. That's the illusion. That's the Maya, is thinking there's something that's not Krishna. Mm-hmm. That's what Maya means. That Maya means that which is not. That which is not what? That which is not Krishna. You're thinking, oh, this earth is not Krishna, but it is. You think this water is not Krishna, but it is. You're thinking this beautiful woman is not Krishna, but it is. You think this money is not Krishna, but it is. Like that, you're thinking, this job, this factory, this office, Krishna's not here, but he is. That's all Krishna's energy. So Maya means forgetting its relationship with Krishna. That's Maya, but everything does. And we think we can be happy without Krishna. No, that's Maya. You can't. It's not possible. Like that. So, even say, oh, I am so happy today I had some pizza and ice cream. But where did that pleasure come from? You got pleasure from eating pizza and ice cream. But where does the pizza and ice cream come from?
Krishna.
It's Krishna's energy. So you're actually enjoying Krishna. You actually, what did you enjoy? Where did the pleasure come from? From Krishna. Why do we say Govinda? Krishna gives pleasure to the senses. What does that mean? Govinda. He gives pleasure to, what is it giving pleasure to senses? How does Krishna give pleasure to my senses? Well, you just ate something today, didn't you? Didn't you enjoy what you ate? Where did that food come from? Came from Krishna. Where did the tongue come from that you tasted the food with? You tasted the food with the pizza and ice cream with a tongue. Where does the tongue come from? The tongue, Krishna gave you the tongue so you could enjoy eating pizza and ice cream. And then you say that Krishna doesn't give you any happiness. What a rascal. That's all coming from Krishna. So I don't get any pleasure from God. I get pleasure from having sex with my girlfriend. But, you're getting pleasure from having sex because you have genitals. Where does your genitals come from? Your genitals is Krishna's energy.
And where does your girlfriend come from?
What's that?
Where does your girlfriend come from? Krishna.
Yeah, where does a girlfriend and her genitals come from? It comes from Krishna. So it's all the enjoyment is coming from Krishna. But bhakti means recognizing that. And thank you, Krishna, and appreciating, being grateful for that. And using the senses for Krishna's pleasure, instead of using them for my pleasure, we use the senses for Krishna's pleasure. Like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't want to go over time too much.
Yeah, perfect.
But yeah, it's really, really far. So this is the vision of a true yogi. That's how they see. They see the super soul everywhere, but they also see that everyone is serving Krishna. Because they see, well, either they're serving the material energy or spiritual energy, but in the ultimate sense is all Krishna's energy. I mean, from Krishna's point of view, is there a material energy?
No.
Does Krishna see, oh, this is my material energy, this is my spiritual energy?
No.
From Krishna's point of view, it's just his energy.
All equal.
From our point of view, we see this as matter and this is spirit. But from Krishna's point of view, he doesn't see this as matter or this is spirit. From his point of view, it's all my energy. It's only from us we see, oh, this is matter, means you forgot Krishna. That's what material is. As a state of consciousness where you're not remembering Krishna. But for Krishna doesn't have that vision. And the pure devotee doesn't have that vision. Like Prabhupada said, the pure devotee sees everything as the spiritual world. The pure devotee, like Prabhupada was sitting in Los Angeles and said, this is not Los Angeles, this is Vaikuntha. So he's seeing it as a spiritual world because he's seeing everything in relationship with Krishna. So that's the way an advanced devotee sees. Of course, we can't imitate that, but we should aspire for that. We should aspire for that, and by becoming more Krishna conscious, then gradually like that, we'll get it. And if Krishna's pleased by our service, like he's pleased by our chanting, pleased by our looking after the people coming to Bhakti Tree, pleased by our cooking nice things for him, offering to him, doing service at the farm, then arranging Rathayatras and so many things. He's pleased, then Krishna can just say, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll give you a different vision now, a spiritual vision. And I remember one time I was distributing books on Queen Street, the main street in Auckland. And I had a little bit of a taste of that. Krsna must have, I don't know, been pleased by my book distribution that day. And I just felt like I loved everyone. And wherever I looked, I was just loved everything and loved everyone. And I just started crying on the street, you know, and just loved everything and everyone. So it was just a different way of seeing things, not the normal. You know, oh, there's my friend over there. Oh, there's my enemy. You know, we see so differently everything. But that I had a little glimpse, a little taste of that, of just seeing everything the same. And I know one person recently broke the book distribution record for one day, selling books in one day. The previous record was 900 and something books in one day, sold, not given away for free. And this guy recently, he did more than 1,400. That's 1,400, and not magazines or small books, like big books, like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, volumes and everything in one day.
Incredible.
And you can only do that if you have that kind of vision. If you're seeing Krishna everywhere and you love everyone and everything like that. And it was just amazing. And that's the spiritual energy. That's when you tap into the spiritual energy, these things become possible. So yeah, it can be done. It can be done. We can develop that spiritual vision if we become a true yogi and sincerely do devotional service. If Krishna is pleased, he can give you that vision. Just like Krishna in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita we'll be reading when we get to there, where Krishna gave Arjuna the vision of the universal form. That's another vision again, where Arjuna saw the whole universe in one place. In one place, he saw it.
And he saw himself in there too.
And he saw himself, you know, within there like that. So like Mother Yashoda looked in Krishna's mouth one day and saw the whole universe inside Krishna's mouth, and saw herself looking into Krishna's mouth inside Krishna's mouth.
And then soon after that, she just, I don't know, the Krishna's Maya was there. She back to normal. And she was thinking that somebody spell on my little boy. And then she just doing the ritual to take the, you know, the spell go away.
Yeah, that was spoiling. Krishna saw it as spoiling her relationship with me as her son. So I don't want to do that. So I'll make her forget what she just saw.
Yes,
like that. So it's so sweet, so sweet. But yeah, this is another fruit, a result of our sincere service, that we get this very special, a very special vision, It's a byproduct of our devotional service. So you don't think you have to get some special glasses to see like that. You can't. There's nothing mechanical you can do to get that. It's something that's a gift. When Krishna is pleased by your service, he can give you these divine eyes. Premanjana, it's one verse in the Brahma Samhita. Premanjana charita bhakti valochanena santa sadaiva hriya suvalokiyanti yam sham sundaram achintya guna sarupam govindamari purusham damaham bhajami. Said if one's eyes are anointed by the salve of love, then one can see Sham Sundar everywhere. One of Krishna's names is Sham Sundar. He's beautiful like a blackish rain cloud. So it said one whose eyes are anointed by the salve of love can see Sham Sundar Krishna everywhere in the heart of every living entity. So this is the process that we're doing, chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regulated principles, you know, doing service for Krishna. This is the process to help us develop love for Krishna. One time the devotees were traveling, I just finished saying that they were traveling in India with Prabhupada, and they came to one place. The devotees said, Prabhupada, what is our purpose coming here? He said, our purpose of coming here is to learn to cry for Krishna. So that's the process that Prabhupada is giving us, to bring us to that point where we actually love Krishna, because to cry for Krishna means to love Krishna. You're not going to cry for someone if you don't love them. So it means that it's bringing us to that point. That's the goal of our life. That's the goal of this process. How does bhakti finish off? Prema, with love for Krishna. If you have love for Krishna, then you're going to see Krishna everywhere. And that's the conclusion, the culmination, the perfection of this path. It doesn't start off with prema, but it finishes with prema, with love. It starts off with shraddha. Shraddha means faith. You have a little bit of faith, you know. Oh, these Hare Krishna, what I thought, God, this Hare Krishnas, they look so happy. I want that. So maybe if I do whatever they're doing, then maybe I'll get some too. And that's what I did. You know, I just had some faith. These guys, I don't know what they're on, but it must be good. I want it, you know, because, you know, I just wanted to enjoy. And I saw that they were happy and I wasn't. So, and peaceful and knowledgeable. So it just starts off with some faith. But if you just keep going, and then it develops more and more. By associating with devotees, you get initiated. Then you follow the rules of the spiritual master. Your heart gets purified. The lust comes out. The greed, the anger, the envy, junk comes out. You start to become fixed up. You become steady. Then you develop a taste. Then you become attached. Then you come to the point of ecstasy, and then finishes off with love. So that's given the nectar of devotion, those steps. But it starts with faith and it ends with love, like that. So. But that's what we have to look forward to, this love for Krishna, spiritual vision, everything like that. But we have to start from where we are, you know, develop faith and then associate with devotees and, you know, develop a relationship with the spiritual master, follow their instructions. By doing that, the heart becomes purified of all the rubbish. Then you become steady in your Krishna consciousness, and then you develop a taste, then you become attached, then ecstasy, then love, like that. That's the process. It's a science. Prabhupada never said, oh, this is a religion, this is a sectarian religion, this is a kind of faith, this is a kind of belief. It's a science. The science, you follow it, you get the result. If you follow the process Prabhupada gave us, the scriptures give us, you will develop love for God. If you don't follow the process, you won't get love for God. You know, so if you follow the materialistic process, I'll give you the materialistic process: sex, drugs, rock and roll, eat, drink, and be merry. So if you follow that process, you'll get something other than love of God. You'll get, you know, frustration, disappointment, depression, everything else. But if you follow this process, then you'll get love of God. So it just simply depends. What do you want? You know, what do you want? Do you want tears coming out of your eyes, you know, sideways? Then follow this process. If you want to cry forever and be depressed, you know, in another way, this is two ways the tears come: downwards or sideways. You know, so downwards is out of sadness, you know, and sideways is out of happiness. So like that. So that's it from me. It's all good. This is the holiday season, right? But where does holidays come from? Holy days, holy days. So let's bring the holidays, which is basically more sense gratification for me, to holy days. Make every day, like today is a holy day. It's the disappearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So we've talked about Krishna today on this holy day. So that's good. We've talked about him also. So this is making the holiday into a holy day and bringing us closer. And if we do that, it'll bring us closer to developing this divine vision and developing love for Krishna. So like Prabhupada said, 1 cent, 1 cent. Our spiritual bank account is 1 cent, 1 cent. So we're just adding up, accumulating into our spiritual bank account. When it's a full spiritual account, then all your hairs on your body will stand on end and tears will come out of your eyes and you're going back home, back to Godhead. Until then, we've got to keep adding up into our spiritual account. Anyone want to say anything?
Yeah, all good.
Sorry, I'm not giving you much of a chance to say anything. It's just I hog the microphone.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a nice Christmas. Merry Krishna and a Hare New Year.